Detroiters episode 9, Husky Boys. Definitely a good episode as usual. This time we actually get to see Big Hank Cramblin come in, so we get to actually see Tim's dad come in and take over for an episode, which is pretty cool, played by WWE Hall of Famer Kevin Nash, which is pretty awesome. That dude is super tall, like they were not kidding, because I think they called him Big Hank before, like in a really early episode, and he's sitting down and he's still, and I'm pretty sure they called him that before, because I was like, he's gonna stand up, and I knew he was gonna be really tall. He was tall sitting down. I was like, this dude is huge. And then he stood up and I was like, that guy is effing ginormous. Like when they stand together, especially like the elevator scene is a perfect example. I was like, holy crap, he is so freaking tall. Like it was insane to see how much taller he was than everybody else. It was pretty nuts. But Tim's dad comes back in this episode and it's pretty awesome. It starts off with them actually, talking with the guy and their, Husky Boys. And they just can't not say fat, and it was just pretty funny. So I love that segment, and of course the part where they're like, let's come up with 100 taglines, and they all sucked. Like everything was just, they were like hardly working around saying something fat, and kind of like Sam mentions early on, like, don't spend a chunk on your chunk. That was just real messed up. I feel like that was the worst one that he said. I think saying that was worse than just saying, fat and stuff. So that was really funny to me. But, it starts off simple. They're working on a commercial and how they're going to do stuff. And then they go, and they find his dad in there and he's already suited up. I would love to know where he got the suit from, considering we find out later, he actually broke out of the asylum. But, he's in there. He's like, hey, I'm back. Everything's good. They let me out. And he goes on his way. He's getting all the old contacts back. I forgot who the person was. I think it was like Lay's potato chips or something like that. And of course they, Sam and Tim are kind of just staring at the lady. It was like, you said you'd get back to us, and that was 3 years ago. And so, they kind of got embarrassed because he's just like, everything's great. He's telling jokes. Everybody is cracking the F up. And it's just like, everybody loves this guy. Like he comes back. Sheila, absolutely amazing in this. It was pretty freaking funny watching her in this episode, especially the elevator scene where they're leaving. And so I knew what was going to happen, because I'm like, why? As soon as they showed her and she's just standing there with a pencil, I was like, this is about to happen. And she drops it and bends over slow. And so, of course, Sam and Tim are just disgusted, but Hank's just there. He's like, and he's nodding, like, very subtle, but he's nodding, like, in slow motion. And I was like, that's a really good scene. And she's, like, all over him, and then they actually show footage of like young Sheila, which I thought was really funny. And I think it was Sam. He was like, man, she was even hotter back then. And Tim kind of turned to her like, what are you talking about? Like even hotter. So I love that scene for sure. But I think what got me the most had to be the ending, where it's like, we got to take you back, but let's just have like one day where they just hang out throughout the night, and then they wait until the sunrise to take them back. And I love that, like them getting drunk and stuff. They pee on the side of the building, and then they do like the fake makeout thing. I was like, that would never work. But I love that. Favorite part, and this is what had me laughing the hardest throughout the whole episode, had to be the fireworks scene. Like they're shooting off fireworks and stuff. It's like, yeah. And as soon as those gunshots went off, I had to like cover my mouth, because it was late at night when I was watching. I had to cover my mouth from laughing, because I was like, that is too funny. Like I think that was the second thing they did, because the first thing that kind of like really touched on like crime in the city was with Mort, when he mentioned when he gives the news story, and he's like, a bunch of crazies in the street, and he's like, but what's, how's that any different from any other night in Detroit? And I was like, that's messed up, but it's kind of true. So that had me laughing. But the ending scene where the gunshots just go off and they just start running, and Hank just like, he kind of ducks down and he's like in slow motion almost, and they're like zigzagging behind him. That had me cracking up. I love that scene. Like that was my favorite scene in the whole episode. It just had me rolling at the end. But definitely a funny episode with Hank coming in. I would love to see him come back next season. So I hope they end up doing that in an episode. He still was like the moped. He just, giant dude just knocks the dude straight off the moped at the end. And then he's kind of going in a very slow circle, and the guys are chasing him around. But really good episode for sure. It made me laugh. Quite a few references. They talk about like basically everything that's been shut down or changed into something else in the city. So that was actually kind of funny. They referenced really early on the Hudson building, which I thought was actually kind of cool, where they talk about the actual scene or the moment where Hank went crazy, which they bring back at the end in a really funny way, where it's like, he opens up a suitcase and it's just full of crap. And it's like he gives us, individual pieces of crap, and he has the back cut out of his suit. And it's like, we were still waiting for him to bring it home because that's how awesome he was. And then Hank tries to have like this really cool moment with his son where he's like, I wanted to tell you something. And it's like, in the suitcase, it wasn't my crap. And it's like, I think that makes it weird. He's like, are you sure? He's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure it does. Like, because he just, mystery crap. It was just there. He got enough to fill a suitcase, which is really crazy. So it's mystery poop from somewhere, and he had a lot of it. So it does make it a lot crazier. So that was pretty funny. But I love that they referenced the Hudson building, which is pretty cool. I've never been there. I'm only 24, but I know a lot about it. Like, I even did, you know, reporting and stuff on it in school. For anyone who may live in the city, or if you don't know about the Hudson building, it got a really interesting history in the city, and it was, oh man, I think that was like 90 something. It may have even been, I don't know. I don't even remember when that was. I was either a really young baby, or I wasn't even born yet when they destroyed that building. I think I was maybe like 2 or 3. But that was a huge building. And like, when I did like an old report for it in school, I was like, man, I never knew like how insane that building was. Like, for now it's just this open space. That's all I ever remember it as. But doing research on that building and knowing how it used to be, and it was like this insanely famous building, and it made so much money and did so much for the city. It was nuts to, you know, hear them referencing. I was like, man, I actually know a lot about that building, which is crazy. Plus, if you're very interested, you can actually look it up on YouTube and see the Fox 2 news footage of when the building was destroyed. I can almost guarantee somebody died from inhaling all that dust and debris, because it was like they destroyed the building, and then it's just like, and as you can see across the city blocks and all of downtown Detroit, there's just dust clouds and stuff. Like, even the news report, you just see a giant plume of dust coming in from the from the demolition, and eventually it just covers up all the smoke. You can't hear anything. It's like static, and just debris is covering everyone. I was like, safety. It's just the way we do safety sometimes is really funny. People just running in the streets, this giant dust cloud from, I don't even know how many stories that building was. Just giant dust cloud just all throughout downtown Detroit. It's like, that's just, yeah, people were just like, let's see what happens, and then people were just running for their lives pretty much. It's kind of funny to watch, to think like, kind of dumb to be there, kind of dumb to be that close. But love that reference, love all the references. Like I said, when they reference like everything that's either been changed or closed down, they're just completely wiped out. So that was kind of funny, but really good episode as always. I'm looking forward to what we get in the next episode. I believe we have, I want to say 10 episodes, or maybe next week is the finale. So I hope it's 10, because that would mean we have 2 more. But even if next week is the finale, really looking forward to it. Of course, we'd love to know what made you guys laugh the most in this episode, so please put your comments down in the comment section below. Someone mentioned in one of my other reviews something that they would like to see, and I think I asked this question before, but I would love to know what elements of the city you guys would like to see, whether it's, you know, commercials, more like parody commercials. Would you guys like to get more references to stuff? Someone mentioned Devil's Night. I feel like if they don't end up doing that this season, which I don't know if they'll do that, you know, if next week is the finale, I don't believe that's what they're going to focus on, but I wouldn't be surprised if we got that for season 2, where they like reference Devil's Night and how it's changed into Angel's Night and stuff like that. It's kind of hard for me to say what else I'd like for them to really focus on in the city, because they tend to focus on a lot of like old, you know, reference stuff that, you know, older people might get, or just like me with the Hudson building, if you just happen to know it if you're younger. But I would love to see them do some random stuff, like if they did like a whole episode with Belle Isle or something. I don't know how that would work out now with the whole national park thing and all that extra crap, but I would love to see them do an episode there, like how that might play out, and if they talk about how it used to be and how it is now. Maybe they could kind of do that in a little bit with Bobble Island, which they somewhat referenced. I didn't know those were condos now. I thought it was just an abandoned amusement park still, but I guess they cleared all that out and now it's condos. But I would love to see them do something with Belle Isle, like a whole episode where they're just on Belle Isle relaxing, or not so much relaxing, just depending on how they decide to portray Belle Isle, because it can be crazy. It depends on the day. You just never know what you'll get at Belle Isle. But that's kind of what I would love to see. I would love to know what elements of the city, whether, you know, old or current, you guys would like to see referenced in the series. And like I said, we'd love to know what made you laugh in this episode the most. And I also want to know what you guys just thought about this episode in general. So please put your comments down in the comment section below. And of course, thanks for watching.